Most people don't miss opportunities because they're lazy. They miss them because they've been trained to recognize only what already looks valuable. And by the time something looks valuable to everyone, the real opportunity is usually gone. That's the uncomfortable truth. The wealthy are not always smarter. They are not always more disciplined. They are not always more deserving. But they often see what other people dismiss, avoid, or misunderstand. And if you don't understand how that works, you can spend your whole life working hard, being careful, making decent money, and still arrive late to everything that actually builds wealth. Here's what nobody teaches you in school. Opportunity rarely arrives looking like certainty. Most of the time it looks incomplete. It looks risky. It looks boring. It looks inconvenient. It looks like extra work. It looks like something other people are too distracted to notice, and that's where most people get it wrong. They think opportunity should feel obvious. They think if something is truly valuable, it should come with proof, clarity, and immediate reassurance. But that's not how it works. By the time the proof is everywhere, the price has changed. By the time the crowd agrees, the upside has shrunk. By the time the headlines tell you it matters, someone else has already been quietly building position. The wealthy understand this better than most. They are not just asking, what is popular? They are asking, what is being underestimated? That is a completely different lens. And once you see through that lens, your relationship with money starts to change. Let me tell you about someone. He did everything the way responsible people are told to do it. Worked hard, saved diligently, avoided unnecessary spending. Waited for the right time. Waited to invest until he understood more. Waited to start the business until conditions felt stable. Waited to apply for the better role until he felt fully qualified. Waited to buy assets until prices felt more reasonable. He called it patience. From the outside it looked smart, disciplined, measured, safe. But years passed, and the truth hit him slowly. The market didn't wait. Housing didn't wait. His industry didn't wait. People less prepared than him moved sooner, learned faster, and gained ground he could no longer reach as easily. He wasn't foolish. He was just using a framework that rewards certainty in a world where wealth often rewards informed action before certainty arrives. That's a painful realization, because a lot of financially responsible people are not struggling from lack of effort. They're struggling from delayed conviction. They keep waiting for opportunity to become comfortable enough to deserve a yes. And opportunity almost never does that. Here's the common misconception. People think the wealthy are constantly hunting for big breaks, some dramatic deal, some secret tip, some lucky moment. But in reality, a lot of wealthy people are simply better at recognizing small asymmetries. Places where the downside is limited, but the upside is larger than most people realize. A skill that takes 6 months to learn, but can increase income for years. A market downturn that scares everyone else, but lowers the cost of future returns. A relationship that seems casual now, but becomes valuable through trust and time. A business problem everyone complains about, but no one is solving well. A neighborhood that still looks ordinary while the fundamentals quietly improve. A job role nobody glamorous wants, but that teaches leverage, sales, or capital allocation. That's how the wealthy see opportunity, not as magic, as mispricing. Sometimes financial mispricing, sometimes social mispricing, sometimes emotional mispricing. They notice when the world is discounting something useful, just because it isn't exciting yet. Let me tell you about someone else. She earned a good salary. Not billionaire money, not even close. But enough that people assumed she must be doing well. Nice place, nice clothes, frequent dinners out, trips that looked effortless online. From a distance, her life looked successful. But behind that image was a quiet truth. She was financially fragile, high income, low ownership, strong cash flow, weak structure. Every month looked impressive and unstable at the same time. She kept telling herself she would get serious later. Later, when work was less stressful. Later, when she had more saved. Later, when markets were less confusing. Later, when someone finally explained all of this in a way that made emotional sense. Then one day she sat with a friend who had less visible status, but more actual stability. No flashy car, no luxury signaling, no performance, just calm. And that calm came from something deeper. Assets, systems, reserves, investments made early and consistently, thoughtful spending, intentional decisions. That conversation changed her because it exposed a truth she had never fully considered. She had been treating money as something to display. Her friend had been treating money as something to position. That's the mindset shift. The wealthy do not just ask, how can I earn more? They ask, How can I place today's resources where they create tomorrow's advantage? That is opportunity thinking. It is forward-looking. It is structural. It cares less about appearance and more about trajectory. And once that clicks, you stop seeing money as a monthly survival tool and start seeing it as movable leverage. Here's what nobody teaches you in school. Opportunity is usually invisible to people who are financially exhausted. That matters, because when someone is overwhelmed, underpaid, stressed, and trying to survive the month, their brain narrows. Of course it does. They focus on immediate relief, immediate certainty, immediate comfort. And there is no shame in that, but this is exactly why two people can look at the same situation and see completely different things. One sees risk, the other sees discounted entry. One sees effort, the other sees leverage. One sees uncertainty, the other sees optionality. The wealthy often have a broader time horizon, and that changes what they notice. They are more willing to tolerate ambiguity in the present if they believe it expands advantage in the future. That could mean buying when others are panicking, learning when others are numbing out, building relationships when others are only transacting, accepting short-term inconvenience in exchange for long-term control. And that's where most people miss the hidden mechanism. Opportunity is not only about what is in front of you. It is about how you interpret what is in front of you. The same market dip can look like danger or discounted ownership. The same side project can look like unpaid work or a future income stream. The same networking event can look awkward and pointless or like the beginning of access. The same book can look like information or like a new operating system for decision-making. The same raise can look like permission to upgrade your lifestyle or a chance to lock in new investing habits before your spending expands to consume it. That is why mindset is not some soft motivational side issue. It changes what you label as worth pursuing. And what you label as worth pursuing shapes your financial future more than most people realize. Let me tell you about someone, a guy who spent years trying to save his way into wealth. Every coupon, every sale, every sacrifice, and again, discipline matters, budgeting matters, waste matters. But he was fighting the wrong war. He was trying to protect pennies while ignoring paths that could multiply dollars. Then a mentor asked him one question. What has the highest return on your next $1,000? Not the safest, not the most comfortable, the highest return. That question disrupted everything. Because the answer was not another month of hyper-frugality. It was a certification that raised his earning power. It was fixing the way he communicated in interviews. It was learning a skill his industry paid well for and struggled to find. It was buying back time so he could think strategically instead of react constantly. And suddenly he understood something profound. Opportunity is not always outside you. Sometimes the biggest undervalued asset in your life is your own future capability. The wealthy understand this instinctively. They are often willing to invest in assets, yes, but also in judgment, in relationships, in reputation, in education with practical payoff, in environments that sharpen them, because they know wealth is rarely built by protecting the present at all costs. It is built by selectively sacrificing part of the present to improve the future. That's a very different philosophy from what most people are taught. Most people are taught to avoid mistakes. The wealthy are often more focused on capturing asymmetry. A small loss they can recover from does not scare them as much as a missed opportunity that compounds in someone else's favor for 10 years. Think about the person who waited too long to invest. They weren't necessarily irrational. They may have been careful, intelligent, even thoughtful. But while they were waiting to feel ready, time was doing what time always does, rewarding the people who had already started. Compounding does not care about your hesitation. It only responds to participation. And the wealthy understand that opportunity often hides inside repetition, inside boring consistency, inside a decision that looks too small to matter now but becomes massive later because it was made early enough and repeated long enough. That's another thing people misunderstand. They think opportunity must feel dramatic. But some of the most important opportunities in life feel almost insultingly ordinary. Automating investments, staying below your means after a raise, building a reputation for reliability, learning one high-leverage skill deeply instead of 10 shallow ones, buying productive time instead of buying status, reading what others ignore, asking better questions in rooms where other people are performing confidence. These are not glamorous moves, but they are wealth-building moves. Because opportunity is often hidden inside what the crowd finds too slow, too subtle, or too unexciting. Here's the practical insight. If you want to see opportunity the way the wealthy do, stop asking only, What do I want right now? Start asking, what creates leverage later? That one question will clean up a surprising number of financial decisions. Should you spend the raise? Or direct part of it into assets before lifestyle inflation swallows it? Should you keep avoiding that uncomfortable skill? Or learn it because it changes your earning power? Should you wait for the perfect moment? Or make a smaller move now that gets time working on your side? Should you keep paying for appearance? Or start paying for ownership, access, and flexibility? Opportunity thinking is not reckless optimism. It is disciplined pattern recognition. It is seeing that not all rewards are immediate, not all costs are financial, and not all value is visible on day one. It is realizing that some opportunities lower stress later, some increase options later, and some quietly compound into freedom while no one is paying attention. And no, this does not mean every risk is wise. Not every cheap asset is valuable. Not every trend is an opportunity. Not every leap deserves to be taken. The point is not to glorify risk. The point is to stop worshipping familiarity. Because familiarity tricks people. It makes expensive habits feel normal. It makes stagnant jobs feel safe. It makes delayed action feel prudent. It makes low expectations feel realistic. And before long, a person can become highly skilled at maintaining a financial life they secretly want to escape. That is why the wealthy often look strange to the average eye. They are willing to be misunderstood for a while. They can tolerate not looking immediately successful. They can buy what is useful before it becomes admired. They can start before applause. They can commit before certainty. Not because they know the future, because they understand that opportunity belongs disproportionately to those who can act with incomplete information and still remain thoughtful. That is a powerful way to live. Not anxious, not impulsive, just awake. Aware of the fact that value usually reveals itself slowly, while price reacts quickly. Aware that what feels safe today can become expensive tomorrow. Aware that the best opportunities in life often enter quietly, dressed in doubt, asking for patience. So maybe the real question is not whether opportunity exists. It does. The better question is whether your current habits have trained you to recognize it, or whether they've trained you to wait until someone else has already claimed the upside. Thank you for watching Capnex. If this shifted something in the way you think about money, watch the rest of the videos on the channel. Like, share, and subscribe for more content. And before you move on, ask yourself this: what financial habit in your life feels safe right now, but may actually be costing you the very opportunity you keep saying you want?